Welcome back to another episode of Let's Understand Mathematics. In this video, we'll be taking a look at mean, or also known as the average. We'll be defining it, and I'll be giving you the formula, and then we'll look at some examples, and we'll see where we'll sort of look at the usages of it in our real world, and we'll go from there. So without further ado, let's get into this video. Okay, so on the whiteboard, I've sort of written the formula for the mean, and I've written the definition. So let's look at the definition first. I'm not sure if you can see it over there, but I'll just say it out loud. The mean average is a common statistic that measures the center of a numerical data set. So for example, numerical, this is a measure that you would use in statistics when you're looking at graphs, tables, charts, data, any kind of data. People or the statisticians, the people who look at statistics will often examine these kinds of measures, which and today we're looking at the first kind of type of measure, which is the mean, and so far in the next few videos we'll look at different types of measures, statistical measures. So once again, mean is a common statistic that measures the center of a numerical data set, or the average of a numerical data set. So for example, you're looking at the grades of the people in your class. You're looking at the grades of the people in your class. So it would usually be more than 4 numbers, but for example, in these 4 numbers, so this is what you call a numerical data set. You have a list of numbers here, and they're from a data. So here, I'm just going to say these are school test marks. Test marks of 12th grade students. School test marks of 12th grade students. School test marks of 12th grade students. This is the data and this is what and we're taking the numbers of a data, numbers from that data that we received, and we're going to find the mean. So the mean is the center of a numerical data set. So when we say center or the average of a numerical data set, many people often think, okay, well, in this set of numbers, what is the center? Okay, we have 4 numbers, so 4 divided by 2 is 2, so 1, 2. So this is the center value, but it's not like that. And this method is actually, we will apply it to the median, which is another topic that we'll learn in this series, but there's a specific way to do that. And now we're going to get to the formula. I'll explain the usages of the mean later, but I hope you understood my example. But we're measuring the center, or the center value, the average, the center value of our data set, of our numerical data set, which is a bunch of numbers that we pull out from a graph, table, chart, or any kind of data. In this case, it was 12th grade students' school test marks for a certain test, maybe a math test, and we'll identify the mean from there. So the formula for the mean is the sum. Mean equals sum divided by count. So what does sum mean? Sum, as you know, is the result of an addition question. So we have all our numbers. We're going to add all of those numbers. We're going to add all the numbers we have. Okay, and we're going to find the total of that. The total of addition is what we call sum. And we are going to divide it by the count. Now, count is a function that you may find in Excel. If you're doing in Excel, you could do count, but count basically is the number of numbers there are in that data set. So in the number of numbers there are, the number of numbers there are in the data set. Okay, so sum divided by count. So in that grade 12 example that I showed earlier, how many numbers were there? There was 4. So the number of numbers there are in the data set, which is the definition of count, is the number of numbers there are in the data set. So for example, in that other example, we had 4. Remember, it was, I'm not sure the exact numbers, but it was 4. So we have 4 numbers here. Sometimes it won't always be 4. There might be 10, 15, 20, but if there's more than 20, you would probably have to use a calculator or Excel, some kind of a statistical software. But count is basically the number of numbers there are, or the number of numbers we're looking at in that data set. So that being said, mean equals the sum, which is the total, just to recap, the total of an addition problem. So you're adding all the numbers we have in that numerical data set. So for example, all those 4 numbers, we're going to find the total, and we're going to divide it by the number of numbers that there are in that data set, in that numerical data set. So we're going to take a look at some examples now. Okay, welcome back again, once again. 7, 12, 17. We're going to start with an easy example. Find the mean. 7, 12, 17. Okay, so what do we do first? So I'm going to just write mean equals, we know it's the sum over count. So sum means we have to add all the numbers we have in this numerical data set, or in this set list of numbers. In a list of numbers like this, where you have more than one number, you're going to add each of the numbers, and you're going to divide it by how many numbers there are in that list of numbers. Okay, so we have mean. We're going to add all the numbers. 7 plus 12 plus 17. And the total of this will give us our sum that we're looking at. And how many numbers are in this list of numbers? 1, 2, 3. So that shouldn't be too hard. 7 plus 12 plus 17. So 7 plus 12, we know is 19. 19 plus 17. 36. 36 divided by 3, and that would give us 12. So we know that the mean equals 12. Now this is a rare example because the mean actually, you might think that it's a center number, but it's not. This is actually something called the median, which we'll look in the next video. But mean equals 12. This is a rare example, but the mean won't always be a number that's in the list of numbers. It might be a decimal number, but in this case it worked out perfectly, since 36 was, we were able to divide 36 by 3 into an even whole number. But sometimes it will be a decimal number, and it won't be a number. It won't always be a number in the data set. In this case, it's a number in the data set. And in the next video, you'll know that the mean and the median is also 12. So that's one example of finding the mean. We've listed the numbers, we find the mean. We add all the numbers we have in that list of numbers, and we divide it by how many numbers there are in that list of numbers. Then we find the sum, we divide it by the count, which is 36 over 3, and we get 12. Mean equals 12. And once again, remember, mean won't always be a number that's in the list. It might be a decimal number, and it won't you can't find it easily. You have to use this formula. You can't just, so the middle number here is 12. Okay, 12 is the mean. So mean, that's how we find the mean. Formula equals sum over count. And where do we use this mean? So the mean serves as like a sort of bar of comparison. If you want, like for example, the grades, the 12th grade test marks example I used in the beginning of this video. If we find the average of that, we can see where we are in that list. So if the average, for example, for that test is 81, we calculate all the test marks of the 12th grade students or the 6th grade students. We figure out that the average of all their test marks for a particular test is 65. That's pretty decent, but 65, for example. And you see one friend gets 51 on the test. You get a 51 on the same test that we calculated the average for, 51. And another friend gets 85. So based on that, the other friend will know that he's doing well because he's above the class average. And another friend we got to step up. We got to work hard. We got to do more work to get, because most of our class is doing better than us. So it gives you a sort of sense of where you are on that list. So this is just one example, but there are many examples where they use mean to sort of compare where we are, where they are, what we need to improve to get there, what should we keep maintaining, or should we keep doing what we are doing. So this is a measure that we use in statistics, and I hope I've explained it to you as best as possible. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will get to them as soon as possible. Thank you very much. We'll meet in the next video.